Corey Gold a little bit in the next hour. I know he has his own show coming up at 2 Central today on some of the same affiliates we're on, KSCO and others. But I wanted to get him on about Benghazi Gate. I wanted to get him on about IRS Gate. I wanted to get him on about spying on the press gate, secret police gate, intimidation gate, whistleblower gate, authoritarianism gate. People are finally waking up and going, this guy's a crook. And other reporters who were scared are now reporting what's happening. And coming up later in the hour, I'm going to play a 1.5-minute clip for radio listeners. The video's up on Infowars.com. It's unedited except for one cuss word we cut out, where the police come and say, we heard there might be a domestic disturbance. We're going to come in your house. They go, no, you don't have a warrant. We're not going to. Everything's fine. So they kick down the door, and then the people are standing there peaceably with their hands up, and they taser them as a torture punishment. And you're seeing this more and more, where the police come in your house without warrants, or they lock down Boston and say everybody is a suspect. What about the government being a suspect? We're going to get into that as well. We're going to break it all down. And then later in the hour, we're going to get into big news not being reported, because I always give different numbers, but Dr. Gold has actually broke these now. These are conservative, because some estimates are 1 out of 10 adverse reactions, 1 out of 100 or some estimates, because the hospitals want to cover this up. I want to talk about the real threat to you and your family. Everybody knows people dying of flesh-eating bacteria and other drug-immune bacteria. There's a lot of super viruses now. I mean, everybody. I will not get near a hospital because of the stuff in them. If I do, I go to new clinics that don't have histories of sickness, and I know the medical system in Central Texas, and I actually do research. I will not take my children in someplace, it's an old facility, or that has it, or a place that has chronically sick people in it. But 784,000 deaths from medical mistakes in 2011. No one went to jail. 106,000, this is the latest statistics, are always 2 years old, of those deaths of prescription drugs wrongly used. And these are conservative numbers. You know, I said 500,000 die from flesh-eating bacteria a year, or other bacteria in the U.S. That should, go in for a minor procedure. You want to get liposuction, and, you're dead a day later. Deadly bacteria that nothing can kill, living in that place. And then it's just a non-issue. So we're going to be breaking all of that down. But we're going to break here in a moment. Dr. Corey Gold received his doctorate in dental surgery at the University of California, San Francisco in '88. Prior to that, he received a bachelor's degree in biology with a minor in chemistry from California State University, Fullerton. A bachelor's degree in dental sciences from the University of California, San Francisco. He's got a bunch of other degrees I'm not going to go over. He's one of the biggest developers of the best-selling mineral and vitamin supplements on the market. So he's a rock star in his own right on that front. But I got him on about Benghazi and all this. Here's my question for you. Will they survive all of these compounding scandals? And what do you think's at the bottom of it, Dr. Corey Gold?
Yeah, I think they're going to survive. Hi, Alex. It's scary. I'm more scared today than I was on 9/11 because it's just, you see that we're boiling in a pot like a frog, and they're heating the water, and we're just sitting there being cooked alive, and no one's jumping out of the pot. We hear that the government is spying on the media. They're tapping their phones. They're checking who they're talking to. They're recording their messages. We're finding out that the government is going after and targeting groups that they don't like. And it's crazy. The groups they don't like are the ones that are pro-America. We're finding out that the government is rewriting history. You mentioned Nazi Germany. They're rewriting history on what happened in Benghazi. We say we're fighting al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, and yet we're doubling the amount of money we're sending to al-Qaeda in Syria. It's like 1984 here, and it's happening faster and faster. My children, their whole generation believes that anything they say on the phone, anything they type on the phone, anything they put on Facebook, anything that they write down, the government's watching, reading, and categorizing. It's a scary world, and it's getting faster.
ProPure is introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. This is the Pro One by ProPure. You wanted it, you got it. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It cuts out the acid derivative of fluoride. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. This is a revolution against the tyrants. They love putting the toxic acid base of fluoride into your water. They love the fact that it's an adjuvant supercharging the trace Prozac in the water and the hormones and the other chemicals. By cutting out fluoride, you cut out the turbocharger in all the poison being artificially introduced into your body. This is what I use. It's a win-win. You get a high-quality product at the lowest price. You support the InfoWar. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. By the way, I just want to say this before I go any further. For years, I've talked over the phone and in text and things to Mike Judge, the creator of so many big hit TV shows, and he was a top engineer when he was like 20, helping design F-18s. Very smart guy. His dad was a famous archaeologist, Jim Judge. I've gotten a chance, because he's invited me out to hang out with him the last 2 days, like 10 hours. And we're going to air an interview next week. Mike Judge has never been political, but things are obviously getting pretty bad in the country, so Mike Judge, a political interview, part of it's political. It's definitely going to be newsmaking next week. Shot it at his house last night and then went out with him to hear some more live music, because we have the same taste in music. And I got to say, I know a lot of celebrities, and they're all really interesting people, because they're kind of folks that end up reaching out to us one way or the other who are into this info. Mike Judge, well, I mean, look what he's created. This guy is just so smart. I mean, he's like a rocket scientist. And he is just so cool. And I know a lot of mutual friends that have known him for years say how cool he is, and it's definitely true. Man, amazing. So that's coming up next week. I just want to say that there. I'm leaving it at that. And you're going to hear some liners. He did some liners as Hank Hill. The only show I listen to is the Alex Jones Show. I'm sorry. Corey Gold, this is a short segment, long segment coming up. I want to give people some positive news. But the reason I raise that is everybody that doesn't like this tyranny needs to start speaking up. Do you agree with that? And why do you think Obama will get away with this?
Well, the press tends to love him. If this would have been George Bush, that's the one thing I liked about the relationship between George Bush and the press, is they didn't like each other. And the press took pride in making him look silly. But, John Carney goes to the microphone and says the craziest things as the president's spokesperson, and the press rarely calls him on it. I was checking during the break CNN. Benghazi's not mentioned on their main page. The IRS scandal is not mentioned on their main page. That's CNN. So they tend to paper over his shortcomings. They tend to paper over his scandals. They haven't woken up yet to who he is.
I don't think, I agree with you. They're going to try to get away with it, but I actually see a lot of the press was just intimidated. They're now using this as an excuse to do the right thing and expose what Obama's gone along with. But then to say the Justice Department is going to investigate things they admittedly did, here's the deal. If they get away with this, the sky's the limit then. We're really in trouble.
That's what I'm afraid of, and we need to be we need to be very vocal right now. We need to be very vocal as people. We can't be afraid. They're trying to make us afraid to give our thoughts on Facebook to each other. They're trying to make us afraid to say our thoughts to each other over the phone. They're trying to make us afraid to write what we think in emails. They're trying to make us afraid to write our Congress people because we'll be intimidated.
Yeah, that's what my reporter, David Knight, we've had arguments about it. And it's just so bold if they're doing that, because it's alien to me. It doesn't intimidate me. It makes me mad. He thinks, and most of my listeners seem to think, they're just using this as an excuse to go, yeah, we're spying on you. Yeah, we want to know what you're reading. We're going to ask you what your reading list is. Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, we're watching you. Like, this is their coming out.
It's like Stalinist Russia that we fought against in the Cold War. That's how you used to spy on their neighbor over there, and they get paid to spy on their neighbor. This is what it's kind of like right now. We got drones in the sky following us 24/7. We have communications being monitored 24/7. They're trying to make you afraid to have a thought other than the ones in parallel concert with the government.
I saw a Reaper a few months ago at stalling speed. It was maybe, I mean, it looked like it was going 100 miles an hour. I'm surprised it didn't fall out of the sky. And, of course, I almost ran off the road trying to take photos of it. I was on a Mixmaster when it flew over. And it was a drone flying slow right over Austin, unmarked. Bigger than Dallas.
Oh, they can stay up in the air 48 hours at a time. I mean, we know we're being watched. It's not even if. We are being watched right now. But I got to think that the press has got to be pretty worried. And we as Americans have to be worried when the press who's investigating stories, they're being watched by the government. The government is now trying to figure out who is the press talking to? Maybe people are telling the press things that we don't want them to know.
Yeah.
What they know.
Yeah, what does the government have to hide? They're always wanting our stuff without warrants, saying, what do you have to hide? Well, I don't trust you criminals with my info. That's why you leave the lights on when you go out at night. You don't want to get robbed. I mean, people say, why do you want privacy? Because the crooks will use the info.
I saw one of the major news networks saying they thought it was okay.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, because of course, if you have nothing to hide, then what do you care if they're reading your materials? What do you care if they're keeping databases? We need to be tracking people because there are some bad people out there. By that token, no one should ever drive because every once in a while somebody gets in an accident. By that token, people shouldn't be doing anything because it's dangerous.
It was CNN yesterday. We put it on screen. The guys put it up there. Carney was up there, and he said, hey, we need to give up liberty for safety. And he said, we need to spy on you so you're safe. And the spying was to keep AP from exposing their criminal activities. I mean, these people all need to be arrested. Many anthropologists and archaeologists believe that before man even discovered the power to harness and use fire, we were involved in agrarian activities. That is, taking the seeds of plants and then replanting them to produce more. The very foundation of our modern civilization and human culture is centered around the planting and cultivation of edible plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, you name it. And the globalists have been going after gardening. They've been harassing people that have gardens in their front yards or their backyards. They've called for licenses for people to have gardens because you can't trust prisoners in the police state America to be able to grow their own food. That's why I've come to the realization that we need to become self-sufficient. You need to be informed. You need to have the Second Amendment to protect yourself. You need to be politically active to wake up others. You need to filter your water. But you also need to plant a garden. Even if you live in an apartment, you can do this. If you live in the countryside, obviously you can do it on a grand scale. There are so many green belts in areas that humans don't even visit, nearby cities and in suburbs, where people are now more and more planting their own little private gardens and meadows and off the side of the road. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a revolutionary act to unplug from the television, to unplug from the computer and all the globalist propaganda, and to go out in your backyard or your front yard or planters at your apartment or on the roof of the building where you live, and to plant a garden.
Here are some of the amazing deals at InfoWars Seed Center at InfoWarsShop.com. The Survival Seed Vault by My Patriot Supply features only the finest survival heirloom seeds for a robust and hardy garden, even in the toughest of times. The ARC All-in-One Seed Kit contains 70 varieties of 50,000 seeds of fruits, vegetables, medicinal, and culinary herbs. All ARC seeds are heirloom. Each type is labeled and sealed separately for ease of use and longevity. The Deluxe Emergency Seed Bank combines 3 of Emergency Seed Bank's top sellers: the Family Survival Emergency Seed Bank, the Medicinal Herb Seeds Pack, and the Culinary Herb Seeds Pack. We also have starter varieties of the deluxe seed packages for fruit, salad, salsa, peppers, and medicinal herbs and more. Go to the InfoWars Seed Center at InfoWarsShop.com.
A little seed can grow a huge tree that produces fruit for up to 50 years. We have the best life bombs. That's what these are. We have the best weapons against death out there at the lowest prices, waiting for you to lovingly plant them and lovingly grow them and lovingly eat them and share them with others. We will strike back against the New World Order, and this is only one more initiative in our fight against them. So please join us at InfoWarsShop.com, or you can link through at InfoWars.com at the InfoWars Seed Center. I'm in league with the freeway. My love is in league with the freeway. I think that says it all. I listened to that song. I remember moving down here in high school, and then in college I'd go back and visit old girlfriends in Dallas, driving the 4 hours up in the car. Something fun about going to visit somebody you love, you care about over a distance. Makes it a lot better once you get there. There is so much going on. I'm going to go to your phone calls here. He's going to ride shotgun with us 30 minutes the next hour, Dr. Corey Gold. That way we can get into all this medical news he's got. But there's a lot of news breaking at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, and also DrudgeReport.com's got some new news I'm going to get to here in a moment. But Dr. Gold, what do you think about Benghazi? Because some cynics are saying the media already knew about all this, which is admitted, that's come out. The IRS stuff, the spying on the media, the persecution of whistleblowers, that's been in the news for years. Just like Fast and Furious was in the news for years before mainstream media picked up on it. And that they're only covering it now because Benghazi is red-handed murder, the ordered stand-down for 6 to 8 hours, depending on how you cut it, with Predator drones overhead, with high-def infrared, and it's now come out they ordered the stand-down. And so this is a desperate scandal to divert a scandal, kind of like Red Adair, who developed, 70 years ago or whatever, blowing up an oil well fire with dynamite, using a bigger explosion to extinguish another fire. But I don't just see that chain reaction getting them out of it. I'm worried they may stage something bigger. So get into the Machiavellian areas, because I hear your show sometimes. I go and listen to some of the podcasts that are out there. And I tune into KSCO, one of our affiliates. I'm on 2 stations you're on out in California. So I really actually enjoy the areas you bring up, tickling my little synapses to see different angles, because we know they're lying. We know they've been caught lying, but there's stories behind the story. So what do you think's really going on with Benghazi? And again, is this other stuff a distraction from that?
Well, when you think about Benghazi, one of the things I keep hearing even from Barack Obama is, well, that's old news. Like 7 months ago was old news now. Well, forget it. It was 7 months ago. So we were a bad government 7 months ago. The reality is, when you think about it, is we put Americans in harm's way. Americans were killed. It was on 9/11, and to think that there was not enhanced protection, when they knew that it was definitely terrorists attacking the consulate, they didn't send help. Then afterwards, they pretended like they didn't think it was a planned attack. And now we're supposed to feel like we're bad guys for saying, hey, how did all that happen? And why did you tell us a different story after the fact? And if you tell us a different story about the attack on Benghazi, then really a thinking person has to ask, what else are you telling us a different story about? If that's not true, if that whole thing was a lie from start to finish, then what else are we hearing every single day that's not true? And I think that's the bigger question, is when are people going to wake up and ask, wait a second, if you could go to the microphone over and over again, if you could send your key executives to the microphone over and over again and tell us something that was completely false, what else are you telling us that's false about everything else that we're reading and hearing?
Yeah, so there is a loss of confidence. So the establishment may flush Obama because he becomes a liability for them, but they're their own little criminal crew with their own blackmail and insider dirt and a power structure that doesn't want to leave power. So I don't expect them to go quietly. But now Boehner is talking about criminal charges and how that's needed. So I thought this would be whitewashed a lot quicker. But I actually see it blowing up. I think Obama could end up getting impeached.
Well, that's a high bar, because you have to prove that he was. It's like Nixon. You have to prove that he was the one who covered it up. And a lot of people usually take a fall on the sword for the president of the United States. He could say all these bad people around me did things, but I was unaware. I was acting on what I thought was the right intelligence. And that's what George Bush said about why we went to war in Iraq. So people will fall on the sword for him. But obviously, people have to start saying, if this is untrue, and they're still telling us to forget about it, what else are we hearing from the government? Think about this. The stock market's at an all-time high today. All-time high today. Yet 1 out of 7 Americans can't afford to buy food. 1 out of 7 Americans is on food stamps, yet the stock market's at an all-time high. Tell me how the economy is so great that the stock market's at an all-time high, yet 1 in 7 Americans can't afford to buy food. There's a very disconnect between what's really happening in America and what's happening for the elite and the rich and in the media.
Well, I agree with you. And so where do you see all this going?
You know, it all depends on us. It all depends on us. You know, Dancing with the Stars is on right now, and I hear it's a good season. And, you know, I hear they're bringing back all those Fox comedy shows. And I am afraid, I got to tell you this, I am afraid that there could be something big coming up to divert our attention from what we're at right now. Right now, we're chasing this administration. We don't believe them in the IRS situation. We don't believe them in Benghazi. We don't believe them on a lot of fronts. And when you start worrying about your belief in the government, wag the dog often happens, where something big all of a sudden changes your focus of attention. And I'm afraid that might be the case.
What about a false flag? You mentioned how the government publicly, I mean, it's even in mainline news like London Telegraph, doubling funding for real Al-Qaeda. They actually wear Al-Qaeda uniforms, Al-Qaeda flag, say, okay, Libya now, next Syria, then America. They've gotten heat-seeking missiles from Benghazi. And then it turns out the group that came and attacked the ambassador there at the substation was actually the group hired to run security in Benghazi by the State Department. And then they ordered the military to stand down. I mean, they wanted him dead. This is a hit from all the info I've got. That's why they're covering it up.
Well, we have Libya, which we helped, quote unquote, liberate for the rebels, who I still don't know who they are. I don't think they love America very much, but we got rid of Muammar Gaddafi, and now the rebels are in charge. And miraculously, all the weapons out of Libya wind up in a conflict in Syria, and we're giving money to the Syrian rebels, who are largely Al-Qaeda. There's a video online right now of Al-Qaeda rebels literally killing Syrian soldiers and eating their hearts. I'm not making this up. These are the people we're supporting.
Yeah, I'm no fan of Assad, but, I mean, real Al-Qaeda is the main brigade, and you've got their commanders eating hearts on TV, saying, we've got the videos, we're going to blow up America and Israel next. And then I guess when Israel and the U.S. get attacked, the governments will just use that to take our rights. See how perfect that is?
You know something? In a convoluted world, it makes sense. But in a world of purpose and values, it makes no sense at all. You're right. I am no fan of Assad at all. But are the people we're supporting, are they any better? What are we doing?
They're like 20 times worse. I mean,
right.
Well, I mean, look, Al-Qaeda has already got these missiles. Now they're going to blow stuff up, and you know it's going to be our rights. Dr. Gold, it's going to be my family that loses rights. It's going to be you. I mean, look at how they are now flipping the script from Al-Qaeda's what Homeland Security is for to libertarians, returning vets, Christians, Catholics, Jewish groups were listed by Fox News in the article. And they're saying Christians can't pray in the military now. But, I mean, what is going on here?
You know, you feel the pace quickening, and it scares me because I see so much is happening so fast. And it's not just one area. It seems to be all over the globe, all over the board. And I don't know if they're testing us right now to see just how much we'll take and how much we'll push back. And I think the average American has to push back right now. And that means, you know, telling your neighbor, telling your friends, you know, just don't buy what you see on television. Question what you hear. You know, make sure that your elected officials understand that you want to see heads roll when it comes to the IRS scandals. You want to know what happened in Benghazi. You want to know what the government's doing and why they're so invasive into your personal space. Because until the public pushes back, it's just going to keep rolling.
Absolutely. We got a bunch of callers I want to go to on a host of issues. I want to go to Shredder first, and then we'll go to David and others here. We'll have more of these Obamagate meltdown news coming up in the next hour, a bunch of key medical news that's been breaking as well. But I want to get to all your calls, and then we'll get into some of the latest info. Rangel is saying to Obama in Politico, saying, hey, you need to come clean because the cover-up's going to get to you. And the fact that you've got a lot of other Democrats saying Obama's in trouble. Corey, I understand you're cautiously, saying you think he may get away with it. I don't think he will. You know, Boehner's saying people need to go to jail over this. Their underlings were ordered to do this, just like Fast and Furious. And I think Fast and Furious should be reopened. We either get on the offense or we get destroyed. And I think this is very, very exciting what's happening. I hear you. But Holder saying, not me, points finger at deputy for AP phone taps. Holder faces Capitol Hill grilling. That's some of the news up on drudgereport.com right now. Now, punching this up for TV viewers, radio listeners need to go see these photos. What are these weird street signs being installed in Las Vegas? They look like the IntelliStreet system last May 14th, a year ago, yesterday, that the government is spending billions of dollars to purchase and put in that actually watch and listen to you. That's their own promo video that says that. And they have these TV screens that bark orders at you. This is a computer screen with a badge as the face. It's like a devil. And we've got Shredder in Ohio says he can tell us what some of this is. It's got like an intelligence pod, like the Google system up at the top of it. We know it's some type of police spy grid, but we need to find out exactly. It says, I believe these are notification signs that are illuminated during roadside checkpoints for identification. You'll be glad to have this type of policing when they pull scumbag cops off the streets. It's all pre-planned. Don't you see? They know your reaction in advance. No, I agree. They try to make cops act bad to then make them us against them mentality. I got to be honest, folks. I've talked to cops. They're more awake than the general public. As bad as police are, they're actually more awake than the general public because they live in the real world and know what they're being told to do. Still out of control. Let's go to Shredder in Ohio. Shredder, do you have any info on what these systems are being put in Las Vegas?
Yes. Greetings from the world of technology, Alex. I work for the world's largest telecom company, AT&T. We host a variety of services that we deploy in the field. What you're probably talking about, though, is something with like an IP address allocated to it. I haven't seen that sign yet.
No. That's how they sell them. It's a wireless command hub for government and others, but they admit it doubles as a spy grid, like the Google cars, sucking everything up.
Yeah, so it more than likely work off a local network connection or something like that, which is, mainly what we handle. We do a lot of residential services for high-speed internet and things like that, but the new product that we are launching in several test markets across the country right now is a system called Digital Life, and basically this is a home automation system with IP addresses.
I'm aware of it. Yeah, it's for the smart meters to jack in and spy on everything, right?
Right, and this will be available to you in your test market or, whatever, market they decide to launch it in. But, this is a real thing, and people, speculate. I tell people all the time that it's possible, and they just shake their head. Well, now you can go buy it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Dr. Gold was talking about. Everything's just being rolled out. And, yeah, no, I read about Digital Life. Google's coming out with their own where all the appliances, in fact, we did an issue in the magazine a few months ago about this, where all of the appliances, whether you like it or not by law, have spy tech, which even physically listens and watches you. The CIA director bragged that, yeah, your washing machine's watching you. And, it's personalized for you, and it just bathes you in wireless pollution while the Imperial probe droid out on the power pole or on the side of your house grabs it all. I mean, so even if you don't want to work it yourself, you turn off your smart meter. People are doing this. Their whole house turns off. That's because it's jacked into everything. I appreciate your call, sir. Dr. Gold, your take on this Orwellian activity.
It's becoming, you're right, Orwellian's the perfect way to put it. And we're accepting it. We're accepting it that the government puts out the version of reality. If the press either goes along with it or the press is spied upon to make sure that it is prevented from saying something contrary to the government. The government's now listening to your home. They're reading what you write. They're listening to what you say. And you're either a friend or you're an enemy. You're either one of us or you're one of them. And it's a pretty spooky place when that happens.
And it's sold as effortless control where, your smartphone will run everything at your house, but that allows them everywhere into your home. And they are bad guys. You're like, well, what do I have to hide? It's not that. They're bad guys. They will use it against you.
Well, what you consider a bad guy and what they consider a bad guy might be two different things. People who like the Constitution, people who talk about limited government, people talk about lower taxes even are not considered good guys by a lot of people in the government. Those are the enemies by a lot of people in the government. People who question, do we really need this much intrusion on our personal lives by the government? Do we need a government this large? Are considered the enemy by a lot of people in government.
And we said government would do everything it's now doing once it got big, because it always does. And now we know what comes next. I mean, look, folks, it's getting so bad at this rate that I will have to get my family out of the U.S. in the next year or two. I've said I'll stay here and go down with the ship, but I don't know where to send them, Dr. Gold. I mean, I know you probably have these discussions with your family as well. I mean, we don't want to wait till it's too late and they come arrest us all, or then we've got to have a war with them. And the idiots they're going to send are just basically robots. I don't want to have a war with these people. But you know what? I'm not going to your damn FEMA camp. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think right now is kind of the time where we have to make ourselves be clear. There's a lot more of us than there are of the others. So we just need to make sure that the people who work for us, who are elected officials, understand we're pissed off, we're angry, we're understanding of what's going on. We don't want it, and we're going to push back against it. And guess what? They want to be reelected. And if you tell them, I'm going to throw your butt out if you don't go the direction we need to be going, they'll go along with you.
Sure. Let's go to David in Maryland. David, you're on the air. Go ahead. Thanks for holding.
Hey there, Alex. I wanted to go on the issue on Benghazi. I mean, a man was murdered. There was 4 of them. And I don't like, if you watch the media, how they're spinning what's going on with the AP, and they're saying it's a matter of national security as to why they raided the records. But yet, when you watch the news, Benghazi goes away. It's like deflected everything away from that.
No, I agree. And here's Carney, a Human Events headline, Obama spokesman, Benghazi happened a long time ago, and Hillary says, what difference does it make why they died? Well, next time you kill somebody and the cops show up, they go, who killed this person? What difference does it make? I mean, look at how they just tell us. What difference does it make?
Anymore. And I have a bad feeling that nothing is going to come out of this, that it's just all going to go away. And I think it's over. I really do.
Well, they're having congressional hearings about taking everybody's pension funds.
I know. I like how they tied everything into 401k. If you're in a small business, that's where you have to put your money.
And I just hope all the idiots in government realize you're still going to have your 10 badge and your bureaucratic position, but you're going to be a third world serf too, you morons. And the video yet of the police out in California showing up saying, we got to report of some loud voices, we need to come in. Well, no, you don't. There's nothing. Everything's fine here. Kids are playing in the yard. The wife's there. No, everything's fine. And so they kick down the door, and then they're both there with their hands up, and they taser them. And it's all part of just teaching you to do what you're told. But then government's just out of control. And by the way, if the street cops don't know it, in almost every department, your bosses run the narcotics and run the gangs. And you all know that. You're told who to go after, who not to go after. I mean, just grow up and stop acting like the government isn't pure evil. Okay? Because there's no future if you don't do that. By the way, we're going to go to Kelly, and we're going to go to Jeff and James and Tony and PJ and everybody else that's holding as well. But going back to Dr. Corey Gold, who's riding shotgun with his talk show host in his own right on several stations we're on out in California, like ksco.com//Corey Gold. We're going to get into some medical news. A few weeks ago, I tried to get him on, but he had some family stuff going on. So I've just been able to get him on in the middle of all this news while we shifted gears. But I want to get into the medical issues of what they're not telling you. You know, they want to get rid of all your rights because of terrorists. And then you've got a better chance of dying from honeybee stings. You know, I've shown those statistics. Finally, the mainstream media has actually gone with that very headline. Bees kill more people. In fact, type that in, folks. Bees kill more people a year than terrorists. And then our government's funding terrorists. And I try to get the right numbers. Some numbers are 290-something thousand a year. on the CDC's own website die from infections in hospitals that weren't related to what they were admitted for. But then you find out maybe 1 out of 10 are getting reported on the chart that way. So is it millions? And then Corey Gold's got the number of 784,000 deaths from medical mistakes in 2011. That's on the CDC website. That's all of them combined, making it the number 3 cause of death. But reporter John Rappaport's broken that down. He says it's over 1 million, making it the number 1 cause of death with no one going to jail. Dr. Gold, tell us about that, but also put in a plug for InfoWarsHealth.com. You advise us on what products to have there. People can sign up for free shipping at InfoWarsHealth.com and get free shipping when they sign up for auto ship. They can sign up and become distributors for $10 and get discounts. And purchasing the great longevity products there also funds our operation. But you're heavily involved with InfoWarsTeam.com. You helped get me involved in it 2.5 years ago with MZ, and I want to thank you and Dr. Wallach. But quick plug for the longevity products at InfoWarsHealth.com.
Well, the best thing as parents, one of the best things we can do is keep our children healthy. I mean, and as family members, one of the best things we can do is protect our family. We know that the food out there is made from GMOs. We know that the crops are devoid of mineral content. We know we're not getting the things we need from our food supply anymore. We're being polluted in the air. We're being polluted in the water. We're just being attacked on all grounds, electrical radiation coming at us. So we better do something about it. And I know most people who are right-thinking don't want to be plugged into the institutionalized medical system. So what I'm advocating you do is get out there and try to stay as healthy as you can by eating as well as you can, drinking purified water, and, of course, taking vitamins, minerals, amino acids, omega oils that will help fortify you and give your body the nutrition it needs to be as strong as it can. And that's one of the reasons why we put together the Alex Pack, which is on InfoWars Health and InfoWarsTeam.com. And it has those 90 essential nutrients that will help your body do the best it can possibly do and help you stay as healthy as you can. And you need to be taking it, and your children need to be taking it, and we need to do everything we can not to be dependent on the government for our safety, health.
Absolutely, and the Pollen Burst Plus with my ugly face on the cover, the best energy drink out there, the healthiest. It's got the bee pollen, all of it. It's available at InfoWarsHealth.com. TSA now confiscating pressure cookers. Satirical suggestion of banning cookers after Boston bombs becomes reality. And there's a video. They now have liberals out trying to get petitions signed. And no, it's not Mark Dice. I can't believe this. To actually ban pressure cookers. By the way, David Knight had that idea 3 weeks ago to go out and get a petition signed to ban pressure cookers. And I green-lighted him. I green-lighted them doing that, and I don't think we've done that. I mean, we just got to get the man on the street thing going. Just like slam, bam, let's do it. But listen, I love it. Everybody's going out now and getting people to, I think she did it as satire, wearing an Obama shirt, to ban pressure cookers. And everybody should go out and do these satirical deals, showing how dumbed down the public is. Dr. Corey Gold's our guest. So now the TSA is seriously trying to ban pressure cookers, being flown on a flight, even if they're empty or in the box or they search them. I have TSA always ask me, what is this? This probably happened 10 times. It's happened to my crew more. And they hold up a Canon camera that we've used the last 3 or 4 years. They're the best camera out there for the price, high def. And I go, well, it says it's a Canon camera. And I say, are you joking? Answer my question. Stay behind that line. I'm like, okay. You want to miss your flight? I'm like, I came early knowing you'd want to be on a power trip. Hey, this guy's on a power trip. They're like, all right, you can leave. As soon as I don't let them have a power trip over me, then the fun ends. Then the fun, take that lens off. Oh, what is, it's like idiocracy. Oh, what is this? Need to be the Secretary of Education. 119,000 views, and it just came out a few days ago. So I'm glad people are doing it. I'm glad they're doing it. So we talked about that in the office probably 15 times. But I'd like to see my team go out and I think they did went out and did ban pressure cookers. I don't know. I don't even have time to produce around here. I kind of produce on the air. We're going to break in a minute. We're going to come back and go to Telly and everybody else. But Dr. Gold, what do you make of the nanny state? England's trying to ban knives now. You'll have to have a license to have cutlery. I'm not joking. That's BBC.
Well, you see it all over the place. We've talked about it before. They're trying to tell you that your children don't belong to you, and they can throw your lunches away that you make for your kids and give them something else just to show you that you really aren't in control of much of anything nowadays. You don't even control what your kids eat, even if you take the trouble to try to do a good job, because the system is really in control of everything. It's a good thing they didn't have the bomb in a trash can. Could you imagine no one being allowed to have trash cans in America from now on in? So I can do without the pressure cooker, I guess, but I'm glad we have a trash can. A Bed Bath & Beyond, you're going to have the new section over there that you're going to have an ID to go get a pressure cooker, I guess. You know, people are going to do terrible things, but we can't overreact to everything that they do. Yes, get rid of explosives that are on airplanes, but pressure cookers, my goodness.
Amazing. We're going to come back and go to calls, but finishing up, what do you make of the deficit going up to close to $17 trillion? It was, what was it, like $8 trillion or something when Bush left office?
Yeah, and the economy is supposed to be doing so great that the stock market's at an all-time high, yet the Federal Reserve is printing money every single month because we're borrowing 46 cents of every dollar the government spends. 46 cents of every dollar the government spends is manufactured or borrowed from China or a foreign government. It's crazy when you think about it. 1 out of 7 Americans on food stamps, 46 cents that the government spends out of every dollar is borrowed, and yet the economy is doing great. Don't watch. There's nothing here to see. Step aside. Nothing here to see.
Well said. And I've got to pull the number up. I actually think it was like $5 trillion when Bush left office. Let me see. National.
I think it was 7 or 8 trillion when he left. I think we're at 16 now. So Obama's doubled it in 5 years.
Yeah, it's just amazing. More money than from George Bush back to George Washington. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, your phone calls quickly when we come back, then a bunch of key health news, and I'm going to play the video and the audio of now the police come to your house without warrants, break in your door, and then taser you when your hands are up. Give me all your lovin'. And from right here in Austin, Texas, ZZ Top. Give me all your liberty. Don't let up until we've overrun these tyrants and taught them that they're our servants and gotten our country back. By the way, if you look at what's happening in Europe, they're like, oh, now it's going to be a permanent recession and depression and the end of prosperity in Europe and more socialism. It's a tool of control. No matter how big the bailouts are, you'll never pay off the $2 quadrillion globally. That's not even your debt. I've got those articles. We're going to be getting to them. But right now, riding shotgun, well, this is Dr. Corey Gold, multiple degrees, and you name it, biology, a dentist, and then some other medical degrees. But his big claim to fame is a talk show host and writer and developer of things like Pollen Burst Plus and so many of the other great longevity products at InfoWarsHealth.com. An icon, he doesn't toot his horn, in the development of some of the top supplements in the country. Let's go to Telly in Texas. You're on the air. Welcome, Telly.
Hi, Alex. Hello?
Yes. Hello, Telly.
Hi, yes, I was just wanting to call. First of all, I've been listening to you for quite a while, and I'm very awake. I'm also very vocal about our government abuse that's going on, and I'm sure I'm on some list.
Good. Let's all be on the list, and then those of us that aren't on the list, those are the ones that go to prison because they're the Nazis. I'm sorry.
I've taken a lot of steps. I've taken my kids out of government schools. I've gotten out of the financial system. I'll never have a bank account again. I use satellite TV and internet, and we moved out to New Braunfels. But even here, we have major issues. My city council is completely corrupt, and our police department got a tank, and they're very in your face about it. The police chief rode down Main Street in it during.
Oh yeah, you live in New Braunfels. You live in New Braunfels.
Yes.
Beautiful rivers there to go tubing, but I've been there not even drinking, and the police wade into the water, and then want to search your cooler without a warrant, and then want to dig through your wallet, and then if you fall off or get on the edge of the creek, they then arrest you for trespassing. And everybody I know is not going to New Braunfels now to tube, and the cops wait at the end of the pickup points to arrest people who they think have been drinking. I mean, my God, you can't even go drink beer in America. And I've been, every time I go to New Braunfels now, I've been pulled over the last 2 times. I will not now go to New Braunfels, and everyone I know will not go. And it's funny you mentioned that. And the police there, and I happen to know the inside scoop of what's going on there, and that's why it's a cult. They are literally, they have their own little North Korea going on there, yes.
Oh, they do. They're very corrupt. In addition to that, we have a siren that just literally went off about 30 minutes ago. It goes off every day. And you can hear it all throughout town. I don't know if they have multiple locations.
Well, maybe they'll tell you to duck and cover. You know, it's all about fear. The government says get under your desk. Now, get under your desk. There's a shooter. Get in a fetal position. Don't fight back. You know what they say now if someone tries to rape you, what the feds say you do?
Yell fire.
Well, that too. No, they said you vomit and poop on them.
Oh, yeah, that's brilliant. It's ridiculous.
So I guess you've got to like be trained and like, I am a trained self-defense expert. Instead you're like, I am a trained projectile pooper. And I'm sorry. And like, I mean, that's what, isn't that condescending to us to say the government can have guns to protect themselves, but we're supposed to be projectile poopers?
I think it's asinine. I think it's so ridiculous. But I am having a dilemma here. You know, my husband was made deathly ill by the pharmaceutical industry, and we are dealing with dilated cardiomyopathy and congestive heart failure at his young age of 47.
Wow.
My son, who's 12 and not overweight, is pre-diabetic. And our garden won't grow here. And so, you know, I feel like I turn the news on and I feel like a schizophrenic. There used to be where you could focus on a couple of issues, call your legislators, you know, and feel like maybe that you could make a difference. But I just
it's more than them swarming us. That's their method of their madness. They're gone crazy. Elites always go crazy. You know, like Hitler's losing the war, so he attacks Russia, that's never been defeated, and had like 10 times the troops he did. And I mean, you know, Napoleon did the same thing. So they always go crazy. So listen, did you hear the peach crop almost all died in Texas, even though there was plenty of rain? They're spraying chemtrails on us. I've had scientists on, mainline studies, the aluminum level in the soil's going up everywhere. Radiation is raining down. I mean, ma'am, hundreds of thousands are dying. That's conservative. It's more like millions from flesh-eating bacteria. I mean, no, it is. We are living in a Twilight Zone episode. I appreciate your call. Dr. Gold, that's what you said. I mean, and you're a newsman. Everywhere, it is becoming insane. But that's what tyrannies become like. And yeah, diabetes is up 3,000%. They're now saying half the public will have it soon. They're now talking about more than 60% of Hispanics are going to have it. Everybody's getting their legs sawed off. I walk around where there's young people, their legs sawed off. I say, what happened? Oh, I'm diabetic. And they're just murdering us. So much fun.
Look at autism. Autism used to be 1 out of 10,000. Now they're saying it's 1 out of 60, 1 out of 70 children has autism now of some form. So whether it's 1 out of 10,000, 1 out of 20, whatever it used to be, to 1 out of 50 or 60, and there's no explanation. I mean, 1 out of 50 to 60 to 70 kids has autism, and there's no explanation as why this is happening. 1 out of every other elementary school classroom has an autistic child in it today.
But aren't you scared of Al-Qaeda? But what about Al-Qaeda? I mean,
well, you know,
I mean, they've got to keep us safe from Al-Qaeda. They publicly run. I mean, so what if cancer's up 10,000+% in pediatric cancers? So what if women all over the place are having both their breasts removed and we lead the world in breast cancer? So what if the IQs are dropping and cancer is exploding and we know it's the sodium fluoride? Why don't you just accept it, Dr. Gold? Why don't you just learn to worship world government?
We have a war on poverty. 1 out of 7 people right now is on food stamps in America, as we're told the economy is recovering and rebounding. You know, we have a war on illiteracy as more and more children are flunking out of high school, and we're told we had to put more money into the high school system because that'll make it better. We've done that about 30, 40 times in a row, and every time it gets worse. So you have to wonder, if the government says to put money into something, maybe the answer is take money away from that thing and it will get better.
Yeah, no, I just want to apologize to the listeners. I think the globalists are doing a great job, and I apologize to them. I love the Harvard study came out 6 months ago and goes, we've looked at 20-plus studies. IQs are dropping because of sodium fluoride, hydrofluorosilicic acid. And we can do it county by county. The counties that don't have it, people have 15, 20% higher IQs, 7-fold lower bone cancer rates, something like 20-something-fold pancreatic cancer rates higher in areas that fluoridate with hydrofluorosilicic. incredible numbers on bladder cancer higher, and they just admit it, and it's no big deal, though, Dr. Gold. We're bad. We're kooks. Why don't we all just drink more fluoride?
They've villainized the person who brings up the problem. It's the shoot the messenger syndrome, and they make you into be a quack. If you bring up something about smart meters on your home, you're a quack. If you bring up something about fluoride in your water, you're a quack. If you bring up the fact that there's all kind of chemicals in the GMOs, I mean all kind of things that are going on, you're a quack because you're not on board the program. You're either on board the program or you're against that.
Yeah, you just hit the key. It's not only that the BT corn and stuff grows its own pesticide at some cases 1,000 times the natural level of the fungus that's poisonous. They're able to bioaccumulate the Roundup and other chemicals and not kill the plant, and then you're eating it, and then you feed Roundup to rats. It kills them.
And there was a new one they were trying to put out just this year that contains part of Agent Orange in it. And it's been banned throughout Europe. Let me get the name for you here.
Come on, Agent Orange is good. Yeah, no. Now they're coming out with GMO crops that can have up to 10 chemicals in them. What's wrong with that? Yeah,
it's called Enlist. And cotton, soy, and corn, Dow Chemical wants to put it out, and it contains one of the chemicals that makes up Agent Orange.
And let's be clear, it's pharmacological crops. I remember reading about Protigen 10 years ago in Texas, open-air planted corn that grows live HIV in it, so they could then strip it out and try to create a vaccine with it by microwaving the live HIV. And that was in the Associated Press, that the government destroyed the crops and revoked their permit, and people didn't believe me about it. And they're like, you can't have corn grow viruses. They just don't know that we are in Buck Rogers here.
Well, because they want you to believe that what they're doing is kind of like, well, we're making a sweeter orange. We're hybriding these two oranges together, and it's going to have a nicer orange. That's what we're doing. No, you're taking insects, you're taking chemicals, and you're incorporating them into plants. That's not nature just being accelerated. That's called nature being mutated.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's skip this network break. Let's go to Jeff. I just can't help it. Microwaving is like spraying aluminum dioxide on us. Well, we'll just need to skip a break, I think. Let's talk to Jeff in Georgia. Jeff, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Dr. Gold. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Just wanted to talk about Benghazi. And actually, Alex, I wanted to also come back to a quote of yours. I know you have plenty that are to quote Alex Jones with, but my favorite one, and I've gotten a lot of mileage out of this, you may have forgotten it already, but the government is relying on the new mascot of America being Dory from Finding Nemo. That was just the funniest thing you said at a very serious day, and everybody I've repeated that to gets a giggle on it.
Yeah, no. For people that don't know, in Finding Nemo, one of my children's favorite movies, and it has a pretty good message overall, the blue fish doesn't remember anything 2 seconds later, because there are some fish that don't have a long-term memory or even really short-term. I think it's that species. That's why it's actually kind of a true story. And they don't remember anything. And the public, that's what Drudge Report does that the system hates. It'll show what Obama said a week ago versus now, and just have their two statements from mainstream news doing what no one else will do, just calling the emperor's new clothes. I mean, the emperor is butt naked, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't know the parable of the emperor's new clothes, everybody should look it up. But that is it. The American people have become Dory. And in between the television mesmerizing us, in between all the GMO, the sodium fluoride, all of it, the chemtrails, people are dying. And so people just are like inebriated, like, I just want to go have a good time. I just want to have they don't have that spark of life because we are seen as a scourge by the globalist, and they want to dumb us down and turn up the ambient poisoning until their societal level collapses. We'll all be drugged out, damaged, brain damaged, when the real bioweapons are released, and basically everybody's just going to die. People say, well, the globalists, they love their system, they love their real estate, they love their power. Mid-level globalists do. But the real top group, the ones meeting, this week off the coast of, the Carolinas in the news with Bill Gates to discuss overpopulation, they dream of releasing a bioweapon that has that mutates after a certain period so that it won't kill them. They go underground. They'll use national security to lock down the nuclear weapons, to lock down all the stuff. They're trying to get international deals with other governments to do this, and then they will emerge when they say they want to kill 80% of us publicly. But that's because their own minions think they're going to be part of it. Higher level, it's 90%. In the real globalist statements, they plan on killing Over 99% of everybody. And folks, I know you didn't believe me on other stuff. I've made films about this. They really planned this. I don't know if they're going to get away with it. But people in power are planning this. I mean, I've had the FBI, when I've covered this, go and question people at UT. You can look that up in the news. Dr. Eric Pianka, over the biology department at the time, being given standing ovations with people crying. This was in the Texas Academy of Sciences. He gets awards in Europe, too. He projected red skulls all over the wall and said, soon the airborne Ebola is coming. We will all die for the earth. We need a police state like China to get things in place before this. I'm ready for me and my family to die. It's sad, but it's for the earth. And there was a standing ovation for 3 minutes with people crying. Top scientist in Texas. It's a death cult. Then I had his graduate students who are now doctors and people send me threatening emails, and I went and looked up their PhD papers that were online, and I went and looked up where they work. Folks, they work in bioweapons. And I've covered this on air. I have people, and you go find them now, they're 10 years later in white lab coats directing BioShield programs with stuff like mousepox that'll kill 98% of humans that come in contact with it. I mean, that's you and your family dead, bro. Okay? And yeah, there's Dr. Eric Pianka, one of his papers. And then listen, maybe you think there's too many humans. That's why they're teaching you a death wish is good. You know, Angelina Jolie, I'm not going to get healthy. I'm going to cut my breast off. And she used to have ampules of blood and say she loved the devil and wanted to hurt herself. That's all this is I've got everything. I've got Brad Pitt. I'm going to cut my breast off. And you know, and Gloria Steinem, I love abortion. I had one. You need to get one too. I mean, they're just Satanist, folks. And let them mutilate. I mean, this sounds crazy, doesn't it? Caligula's crazy. Hitler's crazy. Dr. Gold, what is your take on what I just said? It's super ultra hardcore, but that's what the info I have.
Well, I was shocked by the Angela, what's her name, Brad Pitt's wife. I forget her name.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, I don't follow the media that much. I don't follow that stuff, but I was shocked to see that she had a double breast reduction or removal. And the news is like clapping, like it's like the new trend. If you want to be trendy like Angelina, then you should go do this too.
Everyone's dying of cancer. Let's not find out why it's happening, why it's exploded. Let's cut our breast off.
Yeah, so we walk for the cure, but I guess the answer is amputation. It's a crazy notion that this is the best solution we have today is amputation. After the trillions of dollars that have supposedly gone into finding cures or causes for these things, they're now advocating amputation.
Well, it's exploding, and it's what to transfer the whole economy into them. Well, brain cancer's up. Is the answer have your brain removed?
I wouldn't put that to her. I don't know what her answer would be. I'm sure she would think you were crazy for saying it after having double breast amputation because it sounds crazy.
Why is breast cancer mega exploding?
You know, you have to ask, why are lots of things mega exploding? Why is autism? Why is cancer? Why is breast cancer? What is going on that's happening around us? And it's got to be the things that we're putting into our bodies and the things that we're putting into our bodies through things we don't even know, like the air, the water, and our food supply, and vaccinations and medicines that are supposed to be helping us. You know, those are the things. There's the only common factor that's changed in America about what's going on inside our body. And that's why I advocate so strongly that people do things and become proactive. And people call me crazy when I talk about, you know, taking minerals and vitamins and amino acids and omega oils. Like I'm a crazy person. Like get the takeout pizza. That's the way to go. Just drink Diet Coke. That'll solve your problem of obesity. But you don't need omega oils. You don't need to have.
And by the way, you and Dr. Wallach, because I remember hearing it 15 years ago, and even just a year ago, and I've had Dr. Blaylock on, brain surgeon, that the formaldehyde, that's what it is, at 87 degrees, aspartame breaks into formaldehyde, folks, and wood alcohol splits into that. Your body's, 98 plus, 98.9, so obviously it breaks down. But it's addicting, because poisons are addicting.
Right.
And it came out that it absolutely makes you obese. CBS News, major study, guys type in diet drinks make you obese. But it's not diet drinks in general. It's the aspartame.
Right. I'm not a fan, as you know. I've said it many times.
You're an extremist.
Yeah. But what's funny is I get emails all the time, and I get, like you do, and people say, how can you be advocating for colloidal minerals? How can you be advocating for people taking essential fatty acids? You know that we can get everything from the diet. You're just trying to profit from us. And you look at health premiums going up double, triple, quadrupling, and yet the guy who sells vitamins for like 10, 15 bucks, he's the guy out to get you. It's crazy.
Well, let me say this. I've got the headline up there. New studies wake-up call for diet soda drinkers, CBS, and it goes on aspartame, but they try to smokescreen it with other drinks as well. It makes you fat and get diabetes. Well, that's well known, but let me just say this. I'm going to say this. I do want to profit off the truth, and I want you to profit. See, I believe in win-win-win, where we all become successful, and I promote things that I believe in, that I know work, to then fund myself legitimately, because I love getting up and feeling good about myself. I love knowing I'm part of humanity and team humanity, knowing that I want to build a world for my kids. It's not just that I'm a goody two-shoes. When I even think about doing something bad as just an option, I'm not even into that, but I look at options, I feel terrible because my basic programming is against it. And then all these other people are sold. Everybody's corrupt. Everybody's a liar. Well, you're not, folks. Don't believe that. There are more good people than bad people. That's what I said to Mike Judge. He goes, man, I'm really getting political here. I've never done this. He goes, off record, he goes, well, that was off record. He said some of it on tape because I'm just so sick of hearing everybody be able to do whatever they want, and then we're supposed to shut up that love liberty. And, you know, I forget the exact point I was going to make about it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Gold.
Well, that's one reason why you were wanting to check us out, and we created the whole Alex Pack and the Infowars health.com, InfowarsTeam.com, and it's promote for people for being healthier. And, you know, we're not going to say make health claims here. We're not going to say we're raising the dead. But one thing we can say is that when your body gets the 90 essential nutrient needs, when it gets the 90 for life that it needs, it's going to do better because it needs those nutrients, and it's not getting it in the fast food lines. It's not getting in that can of soda. It's not getting in that box of breakfast cereal.
How do we have that flashpoint to break with this system mentally and then incrementally do it physically? I mean, because I know all this, and I can't break with it, Dr. Gold. I'm not like you and Ben Fuchs, and I try so hard. How do I break with it? I mean, how do I do that?
It's hard because we've been programmed both psychologically and metabolically to like certain foods. You know, when they start giving you those certain meals with the toys, when you're a little kid, you start getting to like those certain foods.
It's Pavlovian.
It's Pavlovian. And you're trying to break your conditioning, and it's very difficult. That's why people sometimes have such a tough time saying, my government does bad things at times, because we've been conditioned as children to say, that's not possible. Yes, Russia can do bad things. Syria can do bad things. North Korea can do bad things, but not us. And it's the same thing when it comes to food. We've been conditioned to do things that aren't good for us, and we flow right into the medical system. We eat their bad foods. We pay a premium for it. We flow right into their medical systems. We buy their drugs. And when we go out there now and say, just take these 90 essential nutrients, just take this 90 for life, just get the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, they fight against us for that because we're trying to break your conditioning into a more positive thing.
Absolutely, and then fund a larger info war off. I mean, how are we supposed to fund ourselves? I mean, George Soros ain't giving me money, folks. I want to take on the New World Order, so get the high-quality water filters, ProPure, 10% discounted, purify your water. I mean, the water table's just full of all these chemicals. At InfoWarsStore.com, get the incredible health products, nutrients, minerals, you name it, hundreds of products, InfoWarsHealth.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Dr. Corey Gold. I know we've got people holding, James, and who's been holding the longest after that? Tony and PJ and Karen. We'll get to all of you. Appreciate Dr. Corey Gold riding shotgun with us for the whole hour. I want to hit a police state news article because you're out in California. I want to get your take on this. But first, let's plug Longevity. I've been talking about it some. We have it all discounted at InfoWarsTeam.com if folks want to become distributors. The toll-free number's there for people that want to ask questions at InfoWarsTeam.com. And there's different levels of distributor you can be. But signing up for $10 right there gives you a big discount. You can sign up at InfoWarsTeam.com and also get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip. You can find the entire catalog and videos and a bunch of media, just amazing interviews at InfoWarsHealth.com. The Pollen Burst Plus, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Rebound. They also now have the Alex Pack in pills for people that don't want to have to carry around the liquid bottles. The Longevity Osteo FX, the incredible probiotic root beer belly that kids just love. It's not a pill, it's a packet that you put in water. It's all available at InfoWarsHealth.com, and the toll-free number is also on the site, 888-789-9277, 888-789-9277. If you have any questions or comments or help signing up for auto ship, 888-789-9277. A few minutes on the products at InfoWarsHealth.com because they are the best. I went out and found the best. You've not heard me promote really other, vitamins and minerals and nutrition stuff before. This stuff is the best. And there's a lot of other great stuff as well. But the point is, this is the best, and you support the InfoWar. It is a win-win, 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 win-win. You are funding maniacs. We're not really maniacs, but it comes off like that, who are assaulting the tyrants in the InfoWar viciously, foaming at the mouth with love for liberty. I mean, it's crazed, isn't it? And you know you're part of it, and we appreciate you all out there. So it's Dr. Corey Gold. In your decades of research, how good are the products at InfoWarsHealth.com?
Well, they're amazing. But one of the nicest thing is every single person, if you call that toll-free number, every single person who will answer your call is an InfoWars listener. That's where they all came from. We actually got InfoWars listeners who use the products, who like the products, who want to become involved, who want to support the show. And they're the ones answering your phone calls. So this became something very cool over a period of time. The whole InfoWars team, InfoWarsHealth.com. And, of course, the Alex Pack. We wanted people to have those 90 essential nutrients that they need. People have heard Dr. Joe Wallach on the show, and they know his integrity. 40 years of fighting, of pleading and for you to listen to him.
I've had his lawyers on, the ones that beat the famous guys that have beaten the FDA over and over again. I mean, we wouldn't have a lot of this health freedom if it wasn't for Wallach.
No, and right now he's assaulting them again, trying to get the word out about selenium and its importance for your health. The science is overwhelming on the importance of selenium, and the government's trying to consider whether or not it should be in baby food or not. A little bit should be, not a lot, but a little bit should be. And the science is there to support it. So Dr. Wallach is out there advocating for the public and won't make a penny when he's successful from it. He just wants you to know the truth. He sued the government a number of times for you to be able to know what's true and proven and factual and not even argued about different nutritional supplements out there. Not his own, but just the ingredients itself. And who's arguing against them? The government. Why? Who pays the government? There's like 100 lobbyists for the big pharma for every one lobbyist for the nutritional supplement world. You know, we said before over 100,000 people die each year out of wrongly prescribed or bad uses of pharmaceuticals. Nobody died last year at all from health supplements. It's crazy talk. When we talk about what you need, your body needs to have the right things in it. There's 90 essential nutrients, the 90 for life that Dr. Wallach and Ben Fuchs and Peter Glidden keep talking about on the radio show. And the concepts are get those 60 minerals, get those 16 vitamins, get those 12 essential amino acids, get those 3 essential fatty acids, and your body will be able to use them to help you be as successful as you can. Your body's a divinely created place. And when given the nutrition, it can do amazing things. We're not going to make claims to cure you. But look what happened to you, Alex. You went on just the Healthy Start Pack, which is the Alex Pack, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the OsteoFX, the Ultimate EFA Plus, and you dropped like 30, 40 pounds.
Yeah, and I'm still somewhat overweight, but I was really fat. And other people that fully follow it have lost over 100 pounds,
right.
Like Aaron Dykes. Truly, truly amazing. So, folks, InfoWarsHealth.com. Now, how do you pronounce this California town? This is shocking video up at InfoWars.com. Shock video. California police break into home, tase victims, and perhaps one of the most shocking police brutality videos of recent years. Police in Cotati, C-O-T-A-T-I, California?
Cotati.
Cotati. Where is that?
I think it's down towards San Diego.
California responded to a call about domestic violence by kicking down the door of a man's home before tasing him and his wife as they scream in agony. And the kids are playing right out front. For radio listeners, I'll kind of narrate this. And they come up, and the guy goes, no, and we didn't call you. There's nothing going on. The wife's like, no, nothing going on here. And the case is now in the newspapers. There was no one hurt, nothing broken. And the guy goes, no, it's not a police state. I bet money of these folks are listeners. We're trying to get in touch with them. And, go away. You don't have a warrant. So they kick the door down. They have their hands up, and they taser them. And a minority of people are defending this, just like Boston. Let's go shut down half the city and come and make everybody put their hands up. And they go, well, people agreed to this. No, they didn't. We've interviewed people. We have the video of a woman comes out, a blonde, certainly not one of the suspects. Push her up against the wall, put your hands up. where for their safety, we're all suspects. I mean, this is what you see in North Korea. And then I've got articles here where exclusive shootings by Philly police soar as violent crime plummets, Philly.com, Austin American Statesman, and KI report, or Austin police shootings a growing trend. Well, yeah, they're going up. And it says, why do they pull people over and then just shoot them when they don't even have a gun or a weapon? Because they're scared to death. It's the perception. Because, I mean, I've gone to see action movies. I'm talking half the people in there are cops. You can all say, are you cops? I'm like, how do you know? Well, you look like a cop. You're acting like a cop. And they're sitting there just believing it and having these fantasies that there's all these North Korean terrorists. And, you know, when statistically it's cars that are killing them and other things. And then they're just scared to death. Instinctive shooting. They shoot us all the time now. And it's like, oh, big deal. You ought to be glad they shot you. So I think for police safety, well, we got a couple million police in this country. I think the other 312 million of us or so, you know, I mean, according to their logic, we should all report to government centers to be executed for police safety. Because police safety comes first. The only way for them to be safe is their families, us, everybody, be killed by the government. And that's what the globalists are actually going for. I'm being absurdist here, but they want to get rid of everybody. That's the global program. They got to dumb us down and poison us first, and they're now deep into that, so that they can be free of us and enjoy all the technology we developed. And so what do you think, Dr. Corey Gold? Should everyone be killed so the government's safe?
I'm afraid somebody just spliced it up when I say yes and go along with you with the spoof here. All I can say is look where the administration came from, the city of Chicago, and ask yourself, is that the model for the city you want to live in? If that's the model for the city you want to live in, look where they're revitalizing the city of Detroit. Look at that as that's their model. That's how they run government. So if that's the way you want your city to look, then we're doing just fine.
Yeah, I think we should bulldoze, a third of every city. That's how you fix Detroit. Now the mayor's quit. It's just all collapsing. Because once you get a city of corruption, see, nothing works anymore. That's the plan. They're going to wreck everything.
Well, they have, because at a certain point, people start fleeing when they see disaster. Hey, the boat is sinking. We've got to get off this right now. So people start leaving, understanding the tsunami's coming at them. And then at some point, only the people that are left are the ones who had nowhere to go. And the crime is everywhere. There's vacant properties. Businesses don't want to start and open. The police have to are more aggressive because a lot of crime is happening. It becomes an us versus them situation. Poverty sets in. And then at some point, you're spiraling to a bottom where there's no tax base, so you can't fix it. So they've done a fine job in Chicago and Detroit, and that's where the administration comes from.
But hey, we didn't build what's happened to Chicago and Detroit. Obama did that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you didn't develop all your great products. I don't make films. I didn't go to the trouble to, go do an interview last night that we're going to put out next week. I didn't do anything. You didn't do anything, doctor.
Well, that was the one thing that the president said that really got to me when he said to a bunch of business people, you didn't create that. And, you could say, yeah, of course, the school system and my parents and the community and my church, they all influence me. But at the end of the day, you're the one who gets up and goes to work, and you're the one who creates your business, and you're responsible for yourself. The concept of being responsible for you and your family is something that's leaving America. It takes a city to raise a citizen, whatever it was, or it takes Clinton's thing about
a village of communists. Yeah,
exactly. The fact that you're not really responsible for yourself. No, we are responsible. We should be responsible for our health. We should be responsible for our conduct. We should be responsible for our livelihood. We shouldn't have to go to the government for food. We shouldn't have to go to the government for shelter. We shouldn't have to go to the government for education. We shouldn't have to go to the government for money or permission. In a perfect society, we should be taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, it puts them in total power, and government never delivers anything in the final equation but literal hell on earth. And we're here warning people, and things are getting worse, and government's saying, we'll do more. Your kids aren't yours. The state is what did everything. Well, then, you know what? I want the government then to wipe my behind. I think that, because I can't do it, obviously. Can Obama come here and do that for me like he does the Queen of England?
And think about it. When you get your food from the government and you get your loans from the government, your health from the government, how are you critical of the government at that point? When you have to go see a government doctor and go to a government school and drive a government vehicle because we own the car companies, and you need the government to guarantee your loan to buy a house, and you need the government for food stamps. How can one say, I don't like what the government's doing when the government's the one feeding you, clothing you, and educating you?
Yeah, let's go to this clip from California that's going viral. For radio listeners, you'll hear the audio, and I'll describe some of it, narrating for radio listeners. The full video's up on Infowars.com. But don't worry, the TSA is banning pressure cookers, so we're all safe. Let's go ahead and go to this clip.
I'm recording everything that's happening now.
Stop talking because they're talking about it.
So we're going to come inside, just to let you know that. You're going to come inside?
Without a warrant, sir?
You're going to come inside without a warrant? Probable cause, you're going to kick my door down. There is no domestic violence. There is no domestic violence.
Yelling.
Between two people, I'm right here.
A good neighbor saw something and said something.
They're going to arrest you, dude. They're going to do this.
Oh, yeah,
How many children are in the house?
There's one child in the house and one is playing outside. Officer, there's one child.
Hit pause.
Guy's not coming out.
They always say the children not grabbed by the CPS or being aborted. It's always, where are the children then? We have to come in. You know, it's an extenuating circumstance. And now they're saying that's for everything. But we have the court rulings in the article. What the police did was illegal. But see, they don't care. They taser you, and then they charge you with resisting, even though it's on video, you don't. And then there's juries that sycophantically get off on it, burning people. And so they send you to the biggest prisons in America. And so the country collapses. Let's go back to the video.
Why are you not coming out?
Because we don't live in a police state, sir. Martial law has not been established in this country.
Okay, can you do us a favor? All get down on the ground and put your hands behind your back because we're going to kick the door.
Do us a favor.
He can't record if his hands are behind his back.
You know, this guy was in Iraq.
Documentation of this violation of their civil rights.
No rights, buddy. You're an Iraqi. Here you go. Boom. Kick the door down. Their hands are up.
He's got his hand up.
Their hands are up. How
You
pathetic.
kicked my door down. You kicked my door down.
Oh, he tasers him.
You kicked my door down.
Yes, we did. Get on the ground.
No, you have no right to be in here. You have no right to be in here. You have no right to be
love
in
it.
here. You have no
Don't
right
worry,
to
cops.
be in here. Do not touch her. You are assaulting her.
They're going to take your bank accounts. Cops, your kids are going to die of cancer. Hope you enjoy the New World Order. And again, this curse these cops have done in their training, they're the good guys. They are being, again, I'm sad for these cops and everybody else because the whole system's going to come down. And those cops are going to bury themselves early. They're going to bury their wives and kids as everybody dies of cancer. As everybody dies from fluoride and chemtrails. And they're not going to care because they'll have their shaved heads and their badges. And so good. Enjoy hell. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Corey Gold. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
The video's scary. It's a scary video. You know, you think that's something you'd see in a horror film. You know, it's abuse of power to the worst degree. And the question is, how many of those happen every day that we don't know about because they're not being videotaped? So that's the problem. We only hear about things, and it's only admitted to when there's a videotape. So yeah, I would tell you, keep your camera around, keep your video rolling. I mean, they're filming you every day. You better protect yourself by filming yourself.
There you go. Only in America. And the cops don't even erase the camera. They think it's a good thing that they did. The brainwashing is you do what we say. But the government's out of control. When I tell the cops they're going to take your bank account, folks, the New World Order plans to cut the resources off incrementally, dumb everybody down, poison everybody, and just normalize it where everybody's dying. You know, where 1 in 25,000 have autism. Now, doctor, the new numbers are out for North America. It's 1 in 52.
Yeah.
I mean, and people say, oh, well, it's overdiagnosed. I take my kids to movies maybe twice a year. And if you go when it's packed, I look at these kids, and I look at kids in restaurants. I mean, you can tell people are sick, man. And kids have all got like weird tics or they're autistic. And you see the statistics, they're killing us. But I guess the answer is just, I guess it's okay.
Even if they're overdiagnosing it now, let's pretend they are. It can't go from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 50 just by overdiagnosis. That's just a naive thing to think. Something is going on, and people need to start asking what could possibly be going on that would make children be so ill. What would make families have more cancer? Everybody we know has somebody die of cancer. What is happening? And the only common denominator that I see, what we're drinking, what we're eating, what we're putting into our bodies through medicine and through vaccinations and through everything else. And yet we're told not to take proactive action. You don't need to filter your water. You don't need to take vitamins and minerals. You don't need to eat organic food. It's no better than any food. We don't need to change the label so you can know the difference between GMOs and not GMOs.
And meanwhile, the elite is obsessed with only eating high nutrient-dense diets and non-GMO and filtered water.
Oh, they have their seafood. They have their seed banks. So when everything goes to heck in a handbasket, they can have their crops pure as can be.
But the absurdness, the absurdness the absurdity of all of this just makes my head spin. That's why I couldn't even talk right then, just thinking about how crazy the whole world is getting and how much crazier it's going to get. Dr. Corey Gold's our guest. James in Colorado. You want to talk about Colorado Defense Force? Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, Alex, hello. Thanks for taking my call. Things are crazy. Yeah, I want to make an announcement and call to action for people here in Colorado and for people actually worldwide to do the same. But just on a side note on the topic that you're on, what I was thinking was Brad Pitt needs to have his genitalia removed and go on tour to demand a plan to end pressure cooker violence.
Hey, that's an idea. Brad Pitt could, because men get testicular cancer, he could have them chopped off live on TV and then go around with them in a jar. And it's so trendy, the metrosexuals, because he said, I'm going to make it popular where all men are going to want to wear skirts. That's a famous quote. He wants you to be like that, too. Angelina carries the jar. I'm sorry.
Okay. The purpose of my call, I want to announce the formation of the Colorado Constitution Defense Force. We meet every morning at 05 to run physical training at the southeast corner of Front Range Community College here in Colorado, Westminster, Colorado. Please show up. We also meet for a red pill party every Sunday at 2 p.m.
Ooh, red pill parties. That's how to defeat the New World Order, make it fun. All right, good to hear from you. You know, I don't want to get off into sick jokes. Cancer is very sad, and we're battling it and trying to expose. They're giving it to us in most cases, knowingly. But, you know, when they celebrate abortion, and I had an abortion shirt like Gloria Steinem does, it is all part of a sickness. And I know Jolie's into death and mutilation of herself. She was always into that. And so it's just the way they're celebrating it, and it even said it is very sick. But it'd be like Lance Armstrong, you know, saying, I'm having my, you know, I guess in the land of the castrated men, the one-wavoed man is king. I mean, this is where it's all going instead of, you like that, CJ? Okay. Dr. Corey Gold, can you top that one?
No, I don't think I can. I think you hit the ceiling on that particular one. But you're right. There is a cult of craziness going on in America right now. And people, unfortunately, are following the wrong leaders. We're following the wrong people in America. If we're using Brad Pitt as a person that we follow and admire because he's a good actor, then we're crazy and we deserve what we get.
I think as brain cancer's up, we should all have our brains removed.
Well, you know something. One day, when you see the campaign for that, you know to run fast as you can. The bottom line is, there's crazy people out there telling you crazy things. Don't listen to them. Do things that make sense. And you know, for one thing, getting vitamins and minerals and nutrition, good solid water, good things in your body will always help.
Extremism. Next, you're going to say support the Constitution. We're going to have to audit you and demand your reading list. What's wrong with having the IRS demand your reading list, Dr. Gold? That's what they do in North Korea. Land of the free, home of the brave, huh? Authoritarian control freaks throughout history have sought to make populations dependent. The United Nations openly has talked about using food as a weapon against the third world and the industrialized first world. State Department Memorandum 200, developed by Henry Kissinger, called for destroying the food capacity, not just of the United States, but every country in the world, so they could use food scarcity as a political weapon of control. Just a decade ago, less than 10 million Americans were on food stamps. 4 years ago, it was 25 million. It's now reached almost 50 million. Socialist health care is designed to destroy our health care system. The establishment wants you to be a bunch of cowardly, dumbed-down people who can't stand up for yourselves. That's why they're rushing to try to restrict citizens owning firearms. Because since the early 1990s, gun ownership has gone straight up, while violent crime has gone straight down by 49%. And globalist-controlled strongholds like Chicago and New York, where they've taken the citizens' guns, have the highest crime rates in the world. What am I getting at here? The system doesn't want you to be self-sufficient. That's why I promote the fact that you should go out, buy firearms, and go take lessons and learn how to use them. I want you to stand up for your birthright of liberty and freedom. During a serious meltdown, they're going to tell you, hey, you want food? Turn in your guns. And that's why we need to put the globalists in check. And then finally bring them to checkmate by being self-sufficient, by being prepared, by having a garden, by learning how to can your own foods, by having friends and family and community that will stand together. But at the heart of that is having quality, storable foods. And that's why I went out more than a decade ago and found the very best food company to be my sponsor, eFoods Direct. They're the company that I personally use for my emergency food storage preparation, whether it be for natural disasters or the tyranny that is intensifying. So give them a call, 800-409-5633. That's 800-409-5633. Or efoodsdirect.com/Alex to find the weekly and monthly specials. But they're always running the specials where you can get the free 6 meals and the eFoods Direct audio CD put together by the experts in storable foods to answer all your questions, the eFoods planning guide, the eFoods brochure, the eFoods catalog, plus 6 free meals, creamy potato soup, tortilla soup, and cheesy chicken rice, so you can sample the high-quality storable foods from eFoods Direct. They've got a bunch of other specials.
The 2-week food supply provides one adult with 81 servings of healthy, delicious, storable food for 14 days.
The 1-month food supply provides 192 servings for 28 days.
And then there's the 1-month family food pack. It will change the way you look at the food in your pantry. Every time you eat one of these meals, you are eating healthy, delicious food and saving a lot of money.
The 3-month food supply, 576 servings of storable food for 91 days.
And the 1-year food supply will provide you with 2,304 servings of healthy, delicious, storable food for 1 full year.
Your meals are as delicious and nutritious tonight as they'll be in 25 years.
Bottom line, there's a bunch of specials at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can also call them at the toll-free number on your screen, and they can send you a catalog with all the specials detailed and tell you about the weekly and monthly specials that they're always running. efoodsdirect.com/Alex to find all the specials or call the toll-free number. And so in closing, when you buy from efoodsdirect.com, you are supporting the radio broadcast, the nightly news, the magazine, the films, and everything we're doing. Because we're not like MSNBC or Media Matters that get government and corporate funding to bring down America and bring in tyranny. We are funded by our sponsors and you, the viewers and listeners that support them. Again, that's efoodsdirect.com/Alex or 800-409-5633. And when you're also visiting Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, you can click on the banners to take you to the weekly and monthly specials. It's like the Hank Williams Jr. song, "A Country Boy Can Survive," because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run because these boys were raised on shotguns. Well, there aren't really a lot of good old boys left anymore, are there? And those that are out there are demonized and are enemy number 1 by Homeland Security. And good old boys come in all shapes, colors, and sizes. They're people that aren't chumps, who understand that they're going to take care of their family and that nobody else is. They're people that understand that if somebody else is taking care of them, that makes them a slave. And that the government doesn't want you dependent because they want to build a great future for you. They want to get you dependent so they can social engineer us. So the answer is get self-sufficient, become men again, and tell the New World Order to go straight to hell. Alex Jones signing off for Infowars.com and eFoods Direct, our great sponsor. Stay in attack formation. I'm on the leader. All right, let's go to Tony in Florida. Tony, you're on the air. Welcome, my friend.
Hey, thanks for your time, Alex. Nice to talk to you.
Good. Thank you for calling, brother, and holding. Go ahead.
All right. Real quick about Benghazi. Recently, 17 nuclear missile officers were replaced. I don't know if you followed that story.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me just go into intuition I had maybe 10, 15 years ago. I don't remember when. I don't know how that works. It just happens, right? So I just thought, like, with all this New World Order stuff, as I was learning about it with the emergence of free information on the internet, that there's some good guys out there that are secretly plotting against these people. So when I heard about Benghazi, well, first I heard about it with you, but then weeks later it became mainstream news.
But there are a lot of good people in government and corporations that are plotting against evil.
So, yeah, and then later on I hear from other sources about these white hats. So I think that this getting rid of these nuke officers, they may have been under the control of the bad guys. So they removed them, and then they break with Benghazi.
Well, I know this. There's continued wars going on. That's not an opinion. There's always white operations and black operations. And the FBI agent that won't do corrupt stuff, you know, he goes and investigates local bank robberies, missing kids. They're compartmentalized. The dark side of operations that used to be maybe 10%, it's more like 30 or 40 now. They sit there laughing at the white hat guys who they use for PR and stuff, and who they just all literally call morons. This has come out. CIA, FBI, it's all the same. I've had some family that got into black operations, and all they've said is, my God, you're on target. Absolutely, this government's evil. And that's another big lie, that people never get into black operations, bad black operations, because black can just mean secret, and then never get out of it. Most people actually do refuse. You know, it's like half the CPS every year nationally quits. New CPS graduates with, you know, multiple degrees in social work, half of them quit because they go to work and find out it's a big pedophile operation, and they freak out, they whistle blow, they get fired. It's just hellish, man. It is hellish, the stuff that goes on. And you know, John Birch Society was full of former military officers, including generals, who found out we were funding communists. And I don't mean just the down-the-street communist. I mean, here's the argument. Well, you know, the Texas police let this certain motorcycle gang run the meth because they control that. That way it's not the Mexican mafia doing it, because they don't want the Mexican mafia taking over Texas. Or we grow the opium in Afghanistan because Al-Qaeda will get the money if we don't do it. And then it's, you know, 10-fold, 13-fold increase in opium production after we liberate Afghanistan. I mean, it's just we're going to run the child kidnapping so it's under control, so it doesn't get too out of control. I mean, that's how this evil argument works, Alex. You've got to make compromises and, you know, join the New World Order. There's good people in it. You get in the inside and work. Well, some people got in on the inside believing all this and are now trying to do good things. So, yes, we're not operating in a vacuum. Thanks for the call. Let's talk to PJ in Ohio. We got 1 minute. Go ahead.
Hello, Alex, first-time caller.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Corey. I apologize. I've been on hold for about an hour, and I'm kind of lost track of my original
It's
thoughts.
okay. It doesn't matter. Well, you've got 20 seconds. It's wonderful.
Okay. You know, everyone types, you know, we talk about our precious resource, you know, water.
Our precious bodily fluids, yes.
Well, I think what we're taking for granted right now is time. That's something that can never be regained. And what we have in place with the time, it's almost like a distraction.
I'm into overdrive right now. It's 2 o'clock and 8 minutes here, Central Standard Time. I want to go to the phone callers that are holding. I'm going to get to you right now. A couple of new developments via Infowars.com. We're also up on DrudgeReport.com. It has the best Obamagate coverage, I think, out there, bar none, and it's making the system very upset that Drudge is showing the compendium of lies. Then we're going back to PJ. But first, let's put it up on screen. They're now not saying it was 200 groups. They're now saying it's 500 groups, and then, of course, it'll be 5,000 groups. The IRS harasses basically anybody who isn't a complete authoritarian, mentally ill person. If you're not part of their sick freak cult of losers and parasites and scum, they're coming after you. And I say, good, come after everyone. It's time for everybody to start suing the IRS, exposing it as a Federal Reserve collection agency that's destroyed this country. It is now time to realize that we're being overrun by lawless criminals in this nation who are just legalizing illegal aliens by fiat. Then I have articles like this one, court rules against German homeschooling family seeking asylum who is facing prison since 2008. They've been in the U.S. because they're trying to raise their children as homeschooling, and that is a felony in Germany. And so they had to flee Germany. Their children will be taken by the state. And Hitler, of course, did that, so that's why Germany is very excited about that, because the state wants to raise your kids. They do such a great job at everything else. And then they turn them into black uniform people. In fact, will you punch up Infowars.com for me? I want to show people a Boston photo just of the cops driving around in tanks like demonic ferrets, just playing soldier and taking themselves so seriously, looking for the government patsy, who we know that was all a setup. And, of course, the average cop isn't a terrorist. They're just like the general public, like Arrested Development 5-year-olds, but with guns. I'm not trying to go off into a jag about police today. It's just I'm so sick of it. All right, the other article is they're now spinning it. 2 rogue employees persecuted the Tea Parties and demanded college students tell them their reading list. Meanwhile, the rest of the media is defending it, saying it's good to target people. You shouldn't be allowed to be a conservative. So it's 2 rogue people. Maybe they'll end up falling down and hitting their heads or something. The good part about it is none of these evil people will escape their own system. PJ, you were making a point about we're fighting too many battles. I cover all the news so that people hear different things that they think are important to get people to become aware of the big picture. I think specializing is what has allowed people to be ensnared. Like if I talk about cops shooting unarmed people in Austin more and more for no reason, and they ask, why is it happening? Well, we know it's instinctive shooting training. It's the police in total fear. And it's like a horse. If it sees a gum wrapper blow, that's why they put blinders on horses. Horses will go crazy and run through a wall. And the cops are just like, Al-Qaeda's everywhere. I did that skit a few years ago or last year about, Alex Jones joins Homeland Security, or what was the name of them where I joined Big Sis? I forget the name of that piece. Alex Jones joins the New World Order is another one where I tell the office what they can and can't eat because, Obama now in Denver and Chicago tells the kids the parents can't pack their lunch. I did that piece, but I did another really funny one where Homeland Security saying, watch out for anybody paying with cash or whatever. It's a real FBI flyer. And then I go into Rudamaya Coffee and have like a freak out in the bathroom because there's terrorists everywhere and I'm convinced they're under the counter. I mean that's what's happening. And so the cops pull you over, and if you're a motorcycle gang person, they bow down in fear, but if you're a family, they get to play commander on you. Let's go ahead, and PJ, go ahead and make your point. I'm sorry.
No, what you were saying with the skirmishes, that's not necessarily it's a bad thing. I mean, all these skirmishes have to be manned, but it's like you said, it's a distraction, and it's what the mainstream media is putting out is really it's the look here. It's like the old the graph when the guy with the cups and pee, follow the pee. Look at this, and it's all distraction while our sovereignty and our basic liberties are being taken from us.
No.
And, well,
you don't support the Constitution, do you? You may have to be investigated.
Well, it's funny you say that. Well, I'm already a veteran, so I'm sure I'm on the short list anyway. People lose sight of that. We, the people, our rights are granted by the Creator, and government's just there to ensure these.
Oh, now you're getting more extreme. You believe in a God other than government?
Yeah. And I pity those that don't. But at the end of the day, we're faced with some real serious challenges.
More conspiracy theories.
It's funny, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law, they label me a conspiracy theorist, and it's like, oh yeah, that's me. You can't. It's just too much. There's just too much out there, and it's something big is happening, and they've dumbed. Our children are being dumbed down. People are dumbed down. The only information they get is what they, get on mainstream media.
But it's okay. They're coming out with vaccines that make you never have anxiety again. Soon, it's going to be nothing but bliss. Take the shot, PJ, and everything's going to be a rapture. Then you won't be upset when the hard-kill bioweapon gets released, PJ. You're going to get to be scooped up and put into mass graves, PJ. You'll get to be in big piles of dead bodies for Earth.
It was funny. I was watching just really late last night. I was watching that piece that you did with Jesse Jackson. I'm sorry, Jesse Ventura, and covering the FEMA.
No, they're very similar. I can see how you could mix those two up. Can you imagine Jesse Jackson with Jesse Ventura's Alex, the Rainbow Coalition is the way to go. A Navy SEAL, a fighter.
He's got some
Alex, I'm leaving the United States. The TSA Gestapo. I'm sorry.
I thought I heard you say something of that today, that you may be forced to do the same with your family. And that's what the sad part is. This is our country.
No, we've let a bunch of crazy criminals that have a hunger to dominate people because no one ever liked them run things, and they're going to run crazy. It's what they do. They're not going to stop. They're lunatic scum, and all of you that have decided to serve it, good. Good. You're going to get it good from your own system. I appreciate your call, sir. The video was something like Snitch Society, Infowars.com. It's a funny video. It's like where I run around the parking lot and we play Mission Impossible music. Let's talk to Karen in Idaho, another evil extremist. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hey, Alex. I want to talk about money. And first I want to tell you, I'm a first-time caller, love your passion, love your music that you play.
Oh, thank you.
I think a prelude to what I'm going to say, we should be playing Donald Trump's The Apprentice, Money, 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 that song. I wanted to be proactive and ask questions, so I handle my mom's estate. Something just happened this morning that was really interesting. Something big is going down. There's a big investment bankerage firm. I could say the name if you wanted me to, but the guy I was talking to said, look, you handle your mom's estate. If something were to happen, we were just in meetings yesterday talking with government officials. The rules and procedures are changing.
Ooh, they were talking to an official. Ooh.
And I said, well, if I need this money to do this and something, blah, blah, blah. He said, well, you're not going to get it. I mean, our hands are tied, too. I mean, it's changing.
No. They've already done it in Europe. They're doing it here. They're having congressional hearings where they take all the money out of your bank account. No judge, no jury. They take your house. That's why the cops are trained to show up and kill you. They're going to take everything. And they'll send cops to their buddy's house to take it, and they'll kill him if he tries to keep his house. And they're going to love it. Oh, no. Listen, they are taking old peoples who end up in nursing homes who are just fine. They're showing up and telling the family, we're taking everything, no judge, no jury. They're just taking everything. They do what they want. They take people's houses now that are paid for 15 years ago in cash that Bank of America never even had a deed on. I mean, that's how criminal it is, because it's all about the force of the government. They want a civil war. They want to force it because this is their time of criminal takeover. What else was he telling you?
Well, he said it's her money, but, since you handle it, and if she were to pass or whatever and you handle it, if it goes to anybody else, I mean, she might as well use it now because if it, you're not going to see it.
Wow, you actually talked to an honest person. So this was a brokerage firm, a bank? Who was it?
UBS.
Oh, yeah, UBS. That's absolutely. They've been taking money out of UBS all the time. The government's already been feeding on that. It's kind of like the new Bear Stearns they're about to snack on.
But what do I tell my mom? I mean, she's elderly. I mean, it's like a joke. I don't want to scare her.
Ma'am, why do you think you get to keep the money you already paid taxes on 5 times? This is land of the free, home of the brave. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how dare you?
Well, you're awesome. I just wanted to say that, and, just keep up the good work.
Ma'am, God bless you. Listen, what was he advising you to do, though? He could have been trying to fearmonger you to get you into invest in something else. What was he saying?
Told him, call my mom ASAP and tell her that she needs cash out, and she needs to have a reserve that's accessible, that we, the people who are handling it, in case she was just in the hospital, and, because she doesn't have enough in the bank to just take care of day-to-day needs. And obviously, if we needed X amount of money to take care of her, to set her up where she wants to get up at, like rest home or whatever, then I can't get it. She says, oh, just call UBS, they can handle it. I'm like, no, they can't handle it.
Well, no, a lot of times now, once a person is elderly, they steal the money and block it from the kids. A lot of these government people and groups do. But I don't think government's the threat. I think we should give up all our rights and due process and checks and balances and just spy on everybody but the government. No one can be trusted but the government, ma'am. But being serious, I appreciate your call. God bless you. Tim in Kentucky. Police raided his house wrongfully. Well, sir, you being alive is the problem, okay? You are a threat to the government. You are an enemy. And if you say you support the Constitution, we're going to have to send you to a FEMA camp. What do you have to say for yourself, sir?
I was naked in the shower when they came in on me, and they actually pulled me outside and pulled me off of my property, and now they're trying to attempt it never even happened. And I have 2 pending lawsuits, one of property damage and one of violation of constitutional rights, civil rights. The problem is none of the local lawyers will take the case because they're saying that they can get out of it with some a good faith clause, and they're scared to take the case. And they're making it well known that they're watching me. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. Even the local newspaper, it had the entire raid in the paper, and they completely failed to mention me. I go to mention it, and people were telling me to be quiet, just shut up, let it pass, and I'm lost.
Well, here's the deal. You know, the guy that shot the video where he went to the Grove Hotel, he lives in England, and the police come over and kind of get in his face and stuff. He now is intimidated by the police and doesn't want to come on, and I'm trying to explain to him, he's a listener, that's why we're so enslaved, because everyone grovels to them. They start thinking it's normal for them to bug their eyes out and act like you're bad. Like, why are you videotaping where there's helicopters and guard shacks being set up? And the guy's like, well, I'm a media guy. I mean, I'm interested in this. Okay, well, we're going to put you in a database. You know, let's put them in a public database. And the cop's like, you better not put me on the internet. These are people spying on us all over the world, and they really think they're the good guy and we're the bad guy. And it's time to go. Quit treating me like I'm a criminal. I mean, look at that cop, that smug smile she has. Just the power trip. I mean, I think I'm going to go buy like a crown and stuff and just start walking around in it and like be delusional and go, I'm the king of the earth. I mean, that's all it is. And like because everybody grovels to the police, and then it just goes to their head, and it's North Korea, man. Then they get out of the car and try to intimidate him. They got helicopters over him, and then he's going to visit some guy, and they get in that guy's face, and the cop's like, why are you upset? And, you know, like, you're violating our rights. Plus, my wife just died in the hospital last week of one of their little infections. It doesn't matter, though. These cops, I mean, just look at this. I tell you, watch the body language of the female cop. It is unbelievable. The saddest. Look, she starts caressing things here and, like, starts rubbing on the seatbelt deal, and they just love it. And it's all about judging you, and they're in the power position, and they're just constantly pressing on the nerve of power. It's just sick. It destroys free society. It destroys free association with all these preening socialists in uniforms. I mean, I'm telling you, man, there's nothing worse than socialists in uniforms. And I bet bottom dollar about those cops if I could talk to them. I'm going to England. Maybe I'll run into them. I'm going to ask them, are you a socialist? I bet you're a so-called liberal. You can just tell. Look how satisfied that female cop is right there. Because, you know, the guy's daring to talk back to her, and she's just like, oh, oh, oh. Of course, in America, that guy'd be tasered and taken to a camp and, you know, given a false charge of assault. Oh, she's laughing. Look, a slave's talking to me. A slave talking to me, you filthy scum. Pay my check. Ugh. Pay my check right now and learn to love it. Learn to love your God. Learn to love your ruler. Anyways, since everybody's telling you, look at her laughing at him. Peasants. I think the police in England should start wearing crowns, and the public should have to groom their stools as well, because I mean that's how you really prove, you know, to the nobility that you appreciate them, is to worship their droppings. Okay, I'm a little out of control here today, ladies and gentlemen, but it's true. It's true. It's real. Look, she's going to lecture him some more. Then they get out and follow him around and all this stuff. We just want to put you in a database. We're filming you everywhere, but you're not allowed to film. Do you understand? Sir, of course the cowards in your area are saying bend over to it, because they're all being abused as well, and they think that's how they create North Korea, which is the heaven they're wishing for. So you've just got to say no to them. Do you understand?
Yes, but that's the thing. See, now I have 2 psych appointments that I didn't even know about that are scheduled for next week, an hour before the place opens, with apparently 3 people. And
no, but you don't have to go to their psych evaluation. They break in your house. Now you're saying they did it. They're saying they didn't. Next they'll say Benghazi didn't happen. It's all baloney, sir. You're in a local good old boy boss hog system, and that's why you're in trouble, because these people think they're God. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.